Leonardo da Vinci once said that time waits just long enough for those who use it. So the question is, what are you doing with your time? We all have 24 hours in a day. What are you doing with your time? Are you building your dream? Or are you helping someone else build theirs? Are you putting in the work every single day, every single moment of now? Are you planning for your future? They say planning is bringing the future into the present so you can do something about it now. So the question is this: what are you doing with your time? Remember, the time is always now.
And thank you for joining me for the Time is Always Now podcast. My name is Terence Young. I'm your host for the podcast. This is the podcast that's dedicated to helping people get past their excuses. Helping people say, I'm not going to do it someday or one day, but I'm going to do it right here, right now, because that is the only time we have. If you don't know who I am, my name is Terence Young. I go by TY. I am a mindset coach, a new thought transformational speaker, an author, a musician, and a certified personal trainer. I help people change their paradigms so they can stop waiting on the perfect time to do something and start knowing that they can do it right here, right now. I connect the mind, the body, and the spirit, bring it all under one umbrella and help you change your life. That's what it's all about. If you want to donate to the podcast, by all means, you can do so just by going to my website. It's terenceyoungnow.com. Thank you in advance for doing that, helping me to continue to get these messages out of hope, of inspiration, of courage, of challenge to the masses. Everyone needs to hear these messages. So I have a Facebook group called The Time Is Always Now Facebook group. And each week we have a theme. And I bring that theme right over to the podcast so we can talk about it. And the theme this week has been change, dealing with change, focusing on change, and working through change. And so what a great time to be talking about dealing with change right now. Now, if you haven't joined us over in the Time Is Always Now Facebook group, by all means, you can join us. Just search for the Time Is Always Now Facebook group. You'll find it there. It's a group of like-minded people who want to change their lives for the better right now. Recognizing we can't do everything right now, but we can do something right now. So figure out what that something is and do that. Just baby steps. Just moving forward one step at a time. So this week on the podcast, the theme is change, working through change. And I think we're all dealing with some type of change right now in our life with the pandemic and everything that's going on. That's just one thing that everybody's dealing with. And then you have your own personal lives where you have all kinds of changes going on all the time. So I'm going to share with you some tangible ways we can deal with change right here, right now. You can put these into your life here, now, and make a change for the better. So first quote I'm going to use today that I posted earlier in the week is, courage is the power to let go of the familiar. Having courage is the power to let go of the familiar. You've got to have courage, right? To let go of what seems safe to you, right? I just became a certified personal trainer. And so I've been working with people, helping people for 10, 15 years now. I had my own running group 5-6 years ago before I was a personal trainer. And now that I've become one, doing the studying, doing the reading, taking the tests and all of that, now actually becoming one and actually running my own workouts through Camp Gladiator, it's a little scary, right? Because I'm still learning some of the lingo, right? I'm still learning what type of exercise, what is even the name of an exercise. I'm still figuring some of that stuff out. There's so many, and then they call it one thing over here, and they call it something else over here. Same exercise. That's a whole nother story, right? So I'm learning all these things about the body. It's unfamiliar to me. but I have to have the courage to move forward, right? In spite of losing that familiarity with the things I already know. I know a ton about running, I know a ton about speaking, but when it comes to personal training, I'm learning, right? I'm learning as well. So we got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I love teaching on this, right? As a runner, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. In your life, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So what I'm doing now is I'm going out and I'm running camps, but I'm still learning. I have another trainer with me teaching me the different things I can do. You know, trainer cues on how to tell someone how to do the proper this or the proper squat or the proper, you know, weights of where they go, how your spine should be aligned. I'm learning all those things, but I'm doing it. I'm learning it while being uncomfortable. I'm out teaching it, and if I make a mistake or say something, I have another trainer say, hey, here's what you should have done. Here's what you can do better. I have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Where is it in your life that you've been comfortable too long? You got to have that courage, and that's the power to let go of the familiar, right? You got to do that. Challenge your fears, and you start. I put this in my first book. Challenge your fears, and start with a baby one, a little small one, and we all have them. We have some major fears. We have some little fears that we know we can work on. Ask someone to help you. Ask a trusted friend to help you challenge that fear. Once you do that, what you're doing is you're building momentum to be able to go to the next fear that maybe is a little bit bigger, right? Start with those little fears, the little things that you know you can work on, but you've just been allowing them to control you, right? And move forward from there, right? Courage is the power to let go of the familiar. Let go of what feels safe to you. Maybe it's a relationship. Yeah. Maybe that feels safe to you. Maybe that's the familiar, but you're sticking into a relationship that's no longer serving your unfolding good. You need to face that fear and move away from it. And if you need a trusted friend to help you out with that, that's okay. Have the courage. Have the courage to make the change that is going to make your life better. You have to take care of yourself first. Before you can take care of someone else, you've got to take care of yourself, right? There you go. Have the courage to let go of the familiar and make the change in your life. If you do that, it'll change your life. Second one is this. Change is inevitable. Progress is optional. I love this. Change is going to happen. It's going to happen. During the pandemic, right? We've all went through change. I was sharing this. I was speaking at a business association this past week on Tuesday, and I shared with them, during the pandemic, I learned so many new things. And maybe you did as well, right? As a speaker, I had to do all these different things now through Zoom or through whatever video process they were using. Well, I had to learn these things. You know, I had to learn how to play music through Zoom, play music through the computer and make it sound right. So I started taking little classes online and figuring stuff out and asking other musicians, hey, how do you do this? How do you get the right sound? How do I get my guitar to go through there and sound good, right? I learned so much during the pandemic. The flowers were there, as if you say, people say it's all bad. No, it wasn't all bad. I learned a lot. I became a much better, a much stronger, a much more competent business person when it comes to my speaking through the pandemic. See, the change is going to happen, whether it be the pandemic or something else. But are you progressing? Are you getting better through the changes? And that is what's so important. Remember, this change is going to happen, right? It's the only constant that we have in anything. I challenge you to tell me something that's never changed in this world. Everything changes. The only thing that doesn't change is the fact that everything is always changing. So when we know this, then we can use that to our advantage. When we know this, we can use that. Ask yourself the question. Here's what you do. Every time you're going through a change, which is always something's changing, instead of saying, why is this changing? Say, what can I learn from this process? What can I learn from what I'm going through right now? That is the question to ask. Not why is this happening? That does you no good. Ask, what can I learn from this? Change is going to happen. In every single aspect of your life, you're always going to be going through some type of change. But growth and progress is optional. That's up to you. That's how you choose to handle the change in your life. So choose to grow through it. Choose to learn something new. Choose to ask the powerful question, what can I learn from this? And when you ask that question, not why is this happening, which is a weak question, but a powerful question, what can I learn from this? That's when the answers come to you. Use this in your life. Change is inevitable, but progress is optional. Think about that. Third thing is this. Progress is a nice word, but change is its motivator, and change has its enemies. It sure does. Hey, I'm right there with you. Change has its enemies. I don't want to change things either, but as I just said in the quote I used before, everything's always changing. There's a great book, Who Moved My Cheese? I've talked about it before on here. It's one of the best books ever on change. It's a simple book, but it's such a powerful book, right? About him and Haw and the other two people in the maze, right? They represented us and going through that maze and how they dealt with change, and the humans, us, we didn't want to change, right? There's always going to be change. The question is, when that enemy of change comes up, meaning you want things to stay status quo, you want them to be as they are, how do you deal with it? How do you move forward? Right? You can, in any part of life, you're going to find people that will say this. Well, we've always done it this way. Well, that don't mean that you have to continue doing it that way, and probably there's a better way. Think about it as innovation. Change is innovation. It's happening. It's going to happen. Don't fight it. Look for it. Don't fight it. Ask for it. Look for it. It's coming your way, right? It's coming, so just deal with it, right? That is the most important thing. Learn to embrace the change, and that's what the book is about, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. Learn to embrace the change. Anticipate. Here's what you do in life. Whatever's happening in your life, it's probably changing in some way. Your career is changing, your relationship's changing, your finances are changing, your education's changing. Something's changing all the time, right? Your family's changing in some way. Anticipate that something's going to change and already prepare yourself. How am I going to deal with these changes? Go back to what I said before. I'm going to ask the question, what can I learn from this change? Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to say, why is this happening? Because that's a powerless question. It does nothing for me. What I'm going to say is, when something changes, I'm going to ask myself, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? I know I'm anticipating the change. There's really 3 E's to change I want to share with you. Expect change, embrace change, and evolve with change. 3 E's that are powerful when it comes to change. Expect change. Know that no matter who you are or what you're doing, something's going to be changing all the time. Expect it. Just get ready for it. Expect it, okay? Expect change, the first one. Number 2, embrace change. When that change happens, embrace it. You say, okay, now I got something new, and I got to deal with it as it is. It's a new thing. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to ask that question. What can I learn from this? Maybe this situation is teaching me something where I can get better. Embrace the change. And the third one, evolve. Evolve with the change. The change may cause you to do something different than you did before. Go back to the pandemic. As I was speaking at that business breakfast on Tuesday, one of the gentlemen said, we did something different in our business and then realized we should have been doing it all along before the pandemic. Thank God for the pandemic, because it taught us how to do something better in our business. We evolved because of the change. 3 things about change. Expect it. Embrace it. Evolve with it. Put that into your life. Put that into your life tangibly today. Know that it's going to happen and roll with it. Move with the change. As they say in the book, move with the cheese, right? If you do that, it's going to change your life. If you do those things, embrace it, evolve with it. Expect it, embrace it, evolve with it. Oh, it's going to change your life. And you can unequivocally say, I own the now, and I have won. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Time Is Always Now podcast. We're getting close to 100 episodes. I don't know, we're going to have some type of celebration when I get to 100. I may change it to every 2 weeks, we'll see. But when I feel the inspiration, it's going to be either 1 week or 2 weeks, and we'll keep it rocking this way. I appreciate you for being with me on this journey. Remember to share this podcast with your friends. Share it, download it, send it out to people. I want everybody to get these messages of hope, of inspiration, of how they can make changes in their life for the better right here, right now. That's what it's all about. So thank you again for joining me. If you want to talk to me about one-on-one coaching, I do one-on-one coaching, helping people find their passion. I am a mindset coach. So rational, emotive, behavioral therapy. I help you get to that belief system first, right? To change that paradigm, because your beliefs control your thoughts control your emotions control your actions, and your actions is how you experience life. So it's very important to start at the top, your beliefs, and I help you find out what those beliefs are and then move in with them and find out how they're affecting your life. And if something needs to change, find out how we can change those beliefs to experience life in a different way. It's powerful, and that's how you can help find your passion and start living your passion. So if you want to talk to me about that, DM me, give me a call. I would love to speak with you about that. If you want to talk to me about Camp Gladiator and me being a personal trainer and how I can work with you there, whether it be virtual or in person if you're in the Tampa Bay area, give me a call, shoot me over a DM. I would love to speak with you about that as well. With that, I'm going to sign off. This is TY. Remember, the time is always now.